Hi, I'm here. Let's talk nipples.
Sure, let's talk.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and I'm joined as always by Danae Hughes.
Ooh, I'm taking Jonathan's place. Move over.
And today we're joined by a special guest from Made In, who helps CinemaSins with a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. It's Creasy!
Hey, how's it going? Yep.
We write for CinemaSins, TV Sins, and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. Yeah, we have a special guest today. Jonathan decided to go out of town or something.
Whatever.
And, go on vacation. Who gets those? So we decided to have Creasy on. Now, Creasy's name is actually Chris Creasy, but as to not be confused with Chris Atkinson in CinemaSins, I think I've always just called you Creasy. I think that's pretty much how you are introduced around the Cineverse. Is that correct?
The Sinsverse.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I go by. I've gone by since high school, just Creasy. It's just, I'm the only member of my family with that last name, so it's kind of like fun, I guess. I kind of just took that on as my identity.
Very nice. You say you're the only one in your family with that last name?
Yeah, so my mom would remarried after she got out of the military, and
Okay.
I have a complicated family past kind of thing. So I have a stepfather, and then I have a biological father, and then I have a surname father. So it's like I said, complicated.
Wow.
So,
I actually like that.
I know,
That's
I love
awesome.
it. I find it very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, there
That's
could
really
be books
cool.
written.
Yeah.
And there will be coming out this fall.
From Behind the Sins Publishing,
That's right.
the story of Creasy's last name.
Yeah.
From whence
No.
Creasy came.
Do you ever feel the need to really iron your pants really well so there's that,
No, Aaron.
big crease down the center? No? Nothing?
No,
That's bad.
I've
Okay,
never
fair
actually
enough.
heard that one before. The crease thing. No, yeah. I've heard greasy creasy and easy creasy and lemon squeezy creasy. So yeah, that just like yeah.
I like the lemon squeezy crazy.
yeah.
That's
Being
nice.
I'm a larger set guy, so like when I get a hug or something like that, that's kind of like one of the things people say.
Very
You need
nice.
to have a shirt.
I should have a shirt.
I think we all should wear shirts occasionally.
Yeah.
I mean. Oh, you mean have a shirt that says lemon squeezy creasy? I get
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yes,
No,
that is
no.
what I mean.
I thought you were just making a general observation. You really
Thank
should
you.
wear a shirt, Creasy.
Yeah.
If people are
Today's
hugging
just-
you a lot.
We know how
But
it goes.
it's part of your story, and that's what you can read about this fall.
That's right. In the Creasy Chronicles.
The Creasy
Yeah, the
Chronicles.
Creasy
From Behind
Chronicles,
the
yeah.
Sins Publishing. We've got a lot of fun stuff to get to. Again, we are now on a 6-video week around the CinemaSins world. So
don't
let's
I
get
know
right
it.
into it. Yeah, don't you? And we'll talk about, by the way, I should mention that. We'll talk about that later during our comment section. We'll kind of interview Creasy a little bit about his job and what he does so you can kind of get a feel for what goes on in Made In and what goes on in Creasy's world. But for now, let's hit the SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
All right, let's take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sinning them, how we felt about the stuff we're sinning in general. We'll kick it off with TV sins, and we'll move to music video sins, and then we'll finish off with the Big Daddy Cinema Sins.
Big Daddy.
So let's start with TV sins. Monday in the pilot category, we did the pilot of Big Bang Theory. This was a Hughes Watkins joint, so Danae and Jonathan wrote on this.
I know, and Jonathan actually mentioned last week, he's like, oh, but we'll talk about that next week. And
I
then
know.
he's not here.
I know. What's funny is Jonathan wrote on more than either of you or me this week, because neither one of us wrote on the CinemaSins videos.
And then he skipped it, and then he skips town.
And then we each wrote on one of the TV Sins videos. But yeah, Big Bang Theory. Here's my question: does anybody watch this show? Like, Danae, do you watch this show?
No, it's the first time I've ever watched it.
Creasy, have you been a Big Bang Theory fan?
No, I've only seen like a couple episodes. I'm not a big fan of this show at all.
Yeah, I've watched 2 episodes, and then I watched the pilot, because just so many people kept telling me, it's so funny, you have to watch it. And I had my thing. I admit it's my thing. Like, I don't, it's just laugh tracks. When I hear a laugh track, I'm just out. And this movie is like the worst offender at that. They play laughter in this movie for just regular
TV
statements. I'm sorry, yes, TV
It's
show.
hard for us. Listen, it's hard for us.
No, yeah,
we consume a lot.
But yeah, they play the laugh track just for regular old statements in this show.
And that was actually one of the jokes that I'm most proud of this week was my one that likened laugh track to herpes.
Yeah,
I was really proud of
I
that
actually
one.
wrote that down as my favorite because yes, that is literally. I can't stand laugh tracks on TV shows that don't have a live studio audience. I'm just like, there's no point.
Big Bang Theory isn't shot in front of a live studio audience?
I think I read that it is shot in front of a live audience, but they still replace it. They have laugh tracks.
Well, yeah, I mean...
But there was a live audience. But
Okay,
I
'cause
read
it doesn't
a couple
feel
different
like it.
things. No, it doesn't for me either.
Well, and it never feels like it anyway. I've been in one of those live audiences before. Have I talked about that yet on the show?
No.
I went and saw a recording a couple years ago of the new Tim Allen show. I forget what it's called. But they tell the audience to laugh at everything, and they give you prizes whoever laughs the loudest. So like they are amping up the reactions in a way that's just completely unnatural. It's completely unnatural, and you can totally feel it.
Could you feel that? Because that was genuine.
Yeah, it really felt very authentic.
Felt that in my eardrums.
Oh, sorry about that, Creasy. Sorry.
That's all good. Yeah.
All that to say, none of the three of us are actually into this show. So apologies to those who are. We're probably not going to be able to, fully give the things that people love about this show. So this may be a little more negative than usual.
Well, but still, it's just supposed to be like our experience in sending it anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's true. So, Danae, you were on the script. I just shadowed.
Yeah.
So what was your experience in sending it?
I really did not enjoy the show, but at the same time, I really liked Sheldon's performance. I don't know. I could tell they all were like committing to their characters. And so that kind of made me want to watch a couple more episodes, but I didn't connect to anything in this one because like I'm not the brightest person out there when it comes to science chatter. If you spend some time explaining some ground rules about science and engineering, I'm sure I could kind of keep pace. But I'm the kind of person that will wait until there's an obvious joke and then like make a joke and everybody laughs and then I feel like I'm part of the team. That's me. So I felt a little displaced in trying to figure out who, quote unquote, I was in this. And the fact that I was the stupid neighbor across the street who just showers in a stranger's house, if that's the person I'm supposed to connect with,
Right.
I'm out. Because I would never do that. If there was people standing in the hallway while I'm like unboxing things in my apartment and they're talking about me and ogling over me, I'm going to shut the door and lock it. So...
I think that's the thing about televisions. Is like, we just learned that sound doesn't travel unless you really want it to.
Yeah. You have to want to with your heart, and then it goes.
I have a question, and I'll probably be accused of being quote unquote woke when I ask this question because boy, in the comments, some people sure don't like you to be woke. Apparently, that's a bad thing.
Okay.
Is this show 15 years from now going to be super offensive?
I have no idea.
Because I'm just saying there's an element to it where these are. I'm guessing actors who are not technically on the spectrum, who are doing things that very much, appear to be mimicking people who have legitimate mental health issues or are on the spectrum. You know what I'm saying?
Sheldon, Jim Parsons' character, really does he feels like he's on the Asperger's autism spectrum of on some point. Like young Sheldon, the TV show, doesn't make it feel like that as much. But the adult version definitely does. And
so I'm just curious about that. I wonder how, in the future, we're already in the future of this pilot. It was made many years ago, and there's several jokes in this pilot that show its age, especially regarding transvestites, which it was just a straight up insult by calling somebody a transvestite, which I just shocked me. And in the gross old people stuff in this episode too. Anyways, maybe I am woke. I don't know. I don't even know what that means half the time.
I am woke.
But I just wonder if it's one of those things where we'll look back and go, oh, they're doing like a weird mocking of.
I don't know that I got that they were mocking.
Well, you don't have to be harsh to be playing like, for instance. This could go some really weird places. But if you take it into other categories of people imitating things that they're not, it gets really icky really fast.
Okay.
So I wonder kind of how we'll go about that.
Like Monica's fat suit?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it could be an example of that as well. So anyways.
I don't know. I think people are going to be offended about whatever they want to be offended about.
Well, that's
Just
true
go
as
to
well.
the comments section. You'll find all kinds of fun things.
yeah, that's
overall,
the nice thing about cancel culture, I guess.
I think it was a fun show to send, though, because I I like being surprised. I'll go in sometimes to writing scripts being nervous. There's actually several scripts I'm supposed to be, turning in this week, for example, and I'm super nervous about it because I'm like, I don't think I have anything good up in the old ticker, and this is a doozy, and
like, you mean you're feeling too negative about the material,
or just it's difficult for me to find something. I'm gonna have to put my critical, brain on more than I'm gonna have like stuff like in this one that was sort of easy for me to grab. I think like television scripts are easier for me to grab sins than movies. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but
it could be the bite-sized portion too, that kind of stuff.
Well, I think in a sitcom universe there's a lot more room for errors, like for example pulling something out of the refrigerator and part of it's already been drank.
Yeah.
Like that, so that's easier to kind of grab. Or
and to be honest, TV shows often care a little less about the details because they're doing so much, and so there's a lot more of that stuff to see sometimes.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think that's fair.
So that was kind of, it's always fun in that regard. And then I had a little bit of fun just kind of writing the script of this one. So I don't know. I enjoyed writing. I didn't enjoy the show.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
What are some of our favorite parts of the video?
I like the video. I kind of connected with this one joke about the apartment ghost, about the food plates at my home. Like, we have this joke about an apartment ghost, so I thought that was really interesting that ended up in a Sins episode. But overall, the show itself, for me, I've kind of always felt flat on The Big Bang Theory because it's making fun of nerd culture, but then also trying to be nerd culture at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
And we kind of touched on that a little bit, but not really in the video. And I enjoyed it as far as like what it nailed down. I do enjoy Simon Helberg's character, considering like how awkward and but we didn't really touch on how awkward he is inside this video. How awkward his character is when they're all sitting there alone with Penny. When Sheldon and Leonard run off to confront
the boyfriend or whatever.
The boyfriend or whatever.
That was so weird to me. I don't know. I guess that's the joke, right? Like, they come back without their pants, and it's like, how what does that situation look like? Like, I don't know. My brain is just like, how do you come back without your pants? Like, can you help me out here? Was the boyfriend like, take off your pants or I'll beat you up? Did the boyfriend literally strip their pants off them? Did he rip their pants off? Like, what?
Aaron wants to see the scene.
No, I'm just saying, how does this abuse happen? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, because it's just like you expect that Leonard and Sheldon would put up some bit of a fight for someone who's gonna try to snatch their clothes from them.
But nope.
No.
They just left.
Do they have shoes on? Pants don't,
yes,
come off.
Yes, they had shoes on.
So how did the pants come off without the shoes coming off?
Hey, you know what? Maybe you should have written that one because that's a really good point. Totally missed that.
I liked that Jonathan has apparently watched a little more of this show because he was able to say some other things in there. The scene episode does not contain an Amy Farrah Fowler. Was a very well liked sin. I think she becomes a very fun, interesting character in the show, from what I understand. So I was glad we do. That's one of my favorite running jokes on TV Sins is how pilots often don't have some of the best characters in them. The hugest example of that is Elaine not being in the pilot of Seinfeld. So I always enjoy when we kind of touch on something like that. What were some of your favorites, Danae?
I really liked the herbal essence and Luke Skywalker conditioner stuff because I got to do a little bit of research on that and discovered that those are collectible items, and then it makes your heart hurt, like things that you should maybe be not using. And also it's really old, they don't really make that anymore. I really liked honing in on the whole thing of her showering in their house. That really disturbed me for so many reasons, but she goes back in without any of her own supplies. She comes out looking exactly like she went in, but in different clothes, which means she would have had to have walked across the apartment to her apartment to get more clothes. And just thinking about how that whole thing just doesn't make any sense at all. So I kind of liked going into that world. But yeah, I liked a lot of the little things.
Well, it was a very fun script. I had my one contribution to this script was "Who's the nerd now, nerd?" Yeah,
I think you added that onto one of the ends of mine to make it better.
I don't know. It was something that made me laugh.
And then you rubbed it in my face.
Well, isn't that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah,
Rub it in
'cause
each other's face.
we're all working together so well.
Yeah, it's all competition. Speaking of competition, let's move on to Friends, the one with the embryos. This is a Dyser Watkins script. Jonathan and I wrote on this. This is the one where Phoebe is trying to get pregnant with her brother's baby, and the one where they have the huge trivia contest between the friends. And it's funny because it's called the one with the embryos, but I'm pretty sure more people remember the trivia contest.
Yeah, I had
than the Phoebe getting pregnant
no
part.
memory of. I was so confused by the embryos reference.
Or the title of this, you're like,
Yeah.
let's do the one where they do the trivia contest. What's that episode?
Okay.
You know, the one with the embryos. What?
But that's the thing with Friends. They do those. They give the title to the B plot, but then the A plot is all about something else. So yeah.
Well, I think sometimes they mistake what the A plot and the B plot are just because the B plot ends up being so much more fun than the A plot is. This is one of the most beloved episodes of Friends. It is rightly so. That competition stuff is so much fun. It's a bit over the top, but it's so much fun. So some thoughts on this episode, Friends? You know, like Creasy, we haven't heard your thoughts on Friends overall. We've been doing, Friends stuff here for a few weeks. You a big fan of the show?
I just turned 30 this year, so like I've only seen every so many episodes. I didn't binge watch it when it's on Netflix, but I have seen enough that I know what's going on. I'm not like a huge Friends fan, but I do enjoy watching the episodes when they are on television. It's like when I actually did channel flip, I was like, oh, an episode of Friends is on. I'll just watch that, I do have some favorite episodes of Friends. Of course, it's the Thanksgiving episode. There's one where Ross ends up moving into the old naked guy's apartment, which is a really good episode for me for some reason. I have no idea why. I just find it funny.
Well, there's an old naked guy. What's not to love?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's also the one where Ross gets caught doing naked yoga in his apartment by the other guys, so that's why it's hilarious. So.
Yeah, I love this episode. I love the whole competition. It's so much fun. There's a girls versus guys thing to it. That's fun in the episode itself, which they did a lot. I mean, we recently sent the poker episode too, and it's the same kind of thing. It's girls versus guys in a competition. I think there's some kind of magic that happens there. What did you think about this video, Danae?
I like this one, and I think about it from like kind of the behind the scenes stuff too, because there are certain Friends episodes that I love. This is definitely, I'm kind of like everybody else. I really enjoyed this one. It's just fun to see them having fun. It's just one of those bonding episodes where you get to see their friendship, and there's more details about their friendship than you get to see every single other time, because sometimes like someone's got a boyfriend or someone's doing this, but this is all just about their group. And then I also love it because Phoebe's pregnant, which the reason I think that's so cool is because Lisa Kudrow was pregnant, and I think it's neat when a TV series will allow someone to become pregnant, stay on the show, and go through her whole pregnancy, as part of the story. So
it's just like Toby on This Is Us this season is getting buff. It's like the actor decided to lose a bunch of weight, and so they wrote it into the script. It's the same thing, right?
I don't watch that show anymore, so I have no idea.
I had a ton of fun writing on this episode. There's something about games and competitions that I love finding inconsistencies with. That's why I love the poker stuff. I love finding inconsistencies there. I think I even mentioned in this video, you thought we were hard on poker, because we talked so much about how many inconsistencies there are in this game. Our CSI breakdown of the timer shenanigans in this game.
That was the one that
I love the fact that nothing they say is actually true. 30 seconds on the clock, the guys use 43, the girls use 46.
Who cares?
When he says 5 seconds left, it's 16 seconds till the end of the thing.
Can we do a game like this in real life? Like, how funny would it be at Sins Week if we just started doing a game like this where there were no rules? We just all pretended like they were the rules.
Boy, it sounds like Danae would surely enjoy that game.
I would win.
Oh yeah.
And you guys did such a great job. And I say you guys, it made in because, Creasy's with us, with the zoom and enhance of the timer, which was so great. Because I noticed now that we can pause things and they're in high def and all that the timer had some random number on it, like 5:23 or something when he said it was over. And you guys did this thing where you made it look like it was... Like as the zoom started, it got blurry and then it cleared up, and it was just so cool because it looked like one of those, silly zoom and enhance kind of things that happen. So that was really well done.
Christian Hall is one of the editors for TV Sins, and he's been a real breath of fresh air for like just coming up with those little touches and stuff like that. He's big into like 4D design and stuff like that, so like he likes doing these little tweaks and stuff, and I really enjoyed. He's been a really great new addition to the team.
That's so cool. Well, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it's fun to have your perspective from the editing side of things because, the editing is like another character. So each writer we have our own individual personalities and perspectives. Yeah. Then you've got the narrator that we're writing for. And then you've got like fun things we can play with like Cine. But then as far as the editing goes, you guys get to bring life into it in a new way. And I'm excited to get to us talking about what's the music video one? Music from Behind.
Music from Behind.
I'm really excited to talk about that. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Can we just stop talking about Friends and just go talk about that one, actually?
Well, I did have one more thing I wanted to mention, okay. If nobody else does. I was told many years ago, if there's something you don't feel like you can talk about, get credit for not talking about it. And I take that mindset into a lot of things. And thus, one of my favorite sins is don't mention the nipples. Don't mention the nipples. Oh, don't mention the nipples.
Yes.
Okay. Was that you that wrote that? Because when I was listening, I was like, yeah, that happens a lot with Rachel, unfortunately. Either that studio is really cold or just that apartment is really cold.
Well, she's talked about it. She's been open about it. I imagine it's kind of a mixed thing where it's just like, can we please not? But at the same time, she's just said, I have nipples and, they get erect sometimes.
Right. Well, hi, I'm here. Let's talk nipples.
Sure, let's talk.
It's awful because it's...
Is it awful, though, or is it just natural? I mean...
No, it's awful because nipples mean sexuality to most people. When you see them, it's like, ooh, that's a sexual thing.
Right.
But we can't control them. It's got to be like an accidental erection for you guys.
Right.
Where like it happens, it's just something that happened. But like ours are on the front section of our body. And unless you're wearing a bra that can really pad.
Like a concrete bra, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think those were very like normal back in the 90s to have like super thick padding on bras. So like I don't even think that she had options to try to like, because some women just have nipples that'll just like boing, they'll cut glass or whatever.
Is it insensitive? Is it insensitive? My friend always just goes, turkey's done. Is that insensitive?
Sorry, that's just too funny.
It depends. Like for me, I never really had to think about this, but now that I've been a nursing mother, I think about this a lot more. Yeah. And like trying to figure out how to hide a part of my body.
See, sucks. I don't like. I am totally team free the nipple. I genuinely.
Oh, so you can make turkey jokes?
No.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
Listen. You can joke about stuff that's serious as well. If anything on CinemaSins, we prove that. Here's the serious part. There is no reason for that body part to be more sexualized on men than women. Of your nose.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, there's a reason that it's sexualized. It's because,
culture.
But also
tradition.
Experience. If you're a woman,
it's
and
an
you've ever
erogenous zone.
Yes,
sure,
that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
So there's a reason that it's sexualized, and I understand that. But it just sucks that like.
But the ears are an erogenous zone too.
And so are the elbows.
Well, the elbows aren't generally.
Maybe
I've never heard the elbows are an erogenous zone.
Yeah, maybe some people.
They're not. For the most part, erogenous zones are what? Just a lot of nerve endings.
Yes, a lot of nerve endings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So feet,
lips are an erogenous zone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay. Can we? Let's be grown-ups. You know what I mean?
And yet you're the one that writes the nipple jokes.
Turkey's done.
Well, it can be funny, but also be you can be mature about it in public. You just like those are nipples. There they are.
To move it into where I've kind of been maturing on my own journey through, like you're talking about Jennifer talking about like it's just this is just what it is, guys.
Yeah,
it's what it is. am learning to adapt that same mentality and just confidently walk through the grocery store where you get your milk and your eggs, and it's always freaking cold. And you just know.
Yep.
You just know.
You just know. Fair enough.
And if somebody is wanting to smirk or whatever, you can just move on because it's not a big deal. So
that's on their
learning.
immaturity and.
But also that joke was hilarious.
Thanks. All right, now we can move on to music video sins. Let's talk about Lil Nas X Panini. Lil Nas X has gone from Woody to Buzz Lightyear with Panini. He's gone from the country to the spaceman.
Yeah, the futuristic.
Very Blade Runner kind of aesthetic going on here. I watched the actual video first, like I tend to do, and it was just, let's just say, it was
a video.
Audacious.
Slightly stalker-esque.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like the video and the song itself, if you really, think about it, it's, I don't know what is it saying? Like, he's saying, I'm supposed to be a stalker? Like, is this play into that cultural thing that we've seen a lot where it's like, don't give up because eventually they'll come around to you, kind of thing? Is that what this video is saying?
But isn't that like kind of what like romantic culture used to be back in the day? Like,
yeah.
Oh, you just pursue a woman until she just gives in. No, that's stalking. Yeah.
Or calls the police.
Yeah. There are restraining orders for that specific reason.
Yeah, it definitely kind of, in a weird way, plays into stalker culture, which, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But
I thought the video did a good job of addressing that, and then also, like, at the end going, what was the point of this? That you stalk your fans until they like you? So, like, what is the point of all of that stuff? And I was confused about the message as well.
The woman is literally jumping out of a plane to get away from you. Like, I think you should take a hint.
My thing is, like, she gets in that airplane. How long is she in that airplane? Because when she jumps out, she lands right back where she started. And I'm just like, geographically, that makes no sense.
The plane is just circling.
It went straight up.
And then just kind of circled.
Oh, that's amazing. I did have one issue with the video. I would be the
Just
guy.
one?
I would be the guy in the with our video. I would be the snarky guy in the comments, like nitpicking our nitpicks.
Oh, okay.
So allow me the pleasure to do that for one video. He said something about everybody knows the Uber driver would have called to find out what side of the road they're on, all that kind of stuff. This was a driverless car. This is the future where Uber drivers are the cars themselves, right? Driverless cars. Let's get there.
I know you really well. And I'm just imagining when you saw the driverless car and you were like, yes!
The future!
The future's here! Wait a second. Don't say that's an Uber. That's its own car. That's an autonomous vehicle.
It can be an Uber car, but it's driving itself, baby.
Yeah, you're really excited about that.
As
that's
we all
probably
should
the
be.
future, right? For Uber
Yeah, it
and
should
Lyft?
be.
Oh, no. Don't say it, Creasy. Don't say probably. Just say, yeah, that's the future and move on.
That's the
Otherwise, you're
future.
going to hear...
What, you don't want my 15 minutes on why humans should not be driving cars when computers
Well, we all
can
know
do it
why
so much
humans
better?
shouldn't be driving cars. I mean,
Well, this is the thing. This is the problem.
No. Okay. I went off on a rant about massage.
You probably know my one statement. What do I always say? Why driverless cars, why people can't get used to them, but why they should. Do you remember?
That people should be excited about driverless cars because no one will smell your farts.
No, that's not it. The thing is, people don't want driverless cars because they think they can do a better job, but people have to shift their view to everybody else. Who do you trust more, every other driver or the computer? It's not who do you trust more, yourself or the computer. That's the shift we have to make.
That's the second shift. The first one is that everybody else is a problem, and then that leads to you are also part of the problem.
That's correct. The second shift is I am also one of those human idiots, even though I don't think so.
well,
Yeah,
for me,
this morning-
it's the paranoia part of the driverless car. It's like, well, if it's got to be hooked up to a network, someone's going to be smart enough one day to hack that network. Yeah, no, I'm good with just driving my car myself.
Yeah, no, that Pandora's box is already open, my friend.
I know that's the scary part.
And Aaron's version of that is so just open wide
Yes,
and let them
that's
take
right.
over. Whereas other people think maybe I should just back out
Too late.
a little bit and
Too late. We're already there. All right. Unless there's any, I guess the other thing was there's an outtake in this that I really liked. It was the Ralph Breaks the Internet outtake. Do you want to make money playing video games? For like the Bill Hader character from Ralph Breaks the Internet. I thought that was really funny. Let's move on to music from behind. This is everything you didn't know about Lana Del Rey, who is apparently a ghost child.
What's it like making these videos? Tell me everything.
Okay,
Susie.
so we're gonna go there first.
Yes. Who cares? We like it. We like it. Blah blah blah.
Here's why this is so valuable. I think more than any other content that CinemaSins puts out, you guys have the most creative input into these videos because you're picking so many of the visuals and those kind of things. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely, it's, we work with Barrett and try to get them to give us as many visual cues inside the script as possible, and then we kind of work from there. Most of the time, it's just like we're thinking of what can visually tell this story the best when we're reading the script, and then what when we're listening to Barrett's VO. And then from there, it's a lot of Photoshop, scouring the internet, and then knowing like meme culture really well.
Yes.
Which the Lana Del Rey one was edited by Ashley Stamper, who is kind of like my second here at the office. She kind of helps me out when I'm busy on other projects here at Made In. And she's kind of like the main CinemaSins editor right now. She had the pleasure of doing this one, and I did John Mayer, the one before it. But her editing and like cheating of like transparency and stuff like this was so great for this one. I told her that this was my favorite episode next to the Lil Nas X one. So
it was really good.
Visually, it just comes down to like what do we take from their music videos and like interviews and concerts and like try to integrate that into the video. And then it also comes down to like what will visually make people laugh and will also add to the punchline later.
Yeah, so there was one, I don't remember which one it was now, but like the sunglasses came down and they were like upside down. It just the stuff like that. Do you guys make those choices yourself, or is that even nitty gritty in the script where, because like oftentimes the script will say something and then the visual says the exact opposite. Is that a decision you guys are making on the fly, or is that part of like what the writing process is?
That sometimes is a decision we're making on the fly. Like that one is just like that was the Mia Cabela or the Camila Cabela and Shawn Mendes one, I think, and that was just like one of those decisions. Like this is gonna be funny, just put it in there. It's just hilarious because like one, it ties into like the meme culture of like thug life, but it's also not. So it's yeah. And that's also has a lot to do with that CSI Miami joke.
Yeah, I really enjoy those little touches. I like them a lot. You just like in this one, I think you had a tomb that you had scratched out and put Obadiah over, which I thought was hilarious.
Instead of Grant.
That's Ulysses. That's Grant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the original. Right? That was like the original character basis. Like we wanted to go Ulysses, but we were like, well, let's just say Obadiah instead, and
that's great.
Just so we can not have to dip into that historical oeuvre.
What would you say for this video were some of your favorite parts?
For me, I really enjoyed there's a couple scenes where like we have like the ghost hunter guy on when she's talking about finding the ghost for the first time, and for some reason his face just makes me laugh so hard, like just his shock and awe in the whole thing, and then it just adds to what Barrett's saying.
No, that was good.
As far as like the jokes, there's one where we talk about the Exorcist director being murdered, and then like we actually show him actually being murdered in the Exorcist. So I like those little like nods to the originals, the original content of what we're thinking about imagery wise, and like some of the jokes. Because like when Ross put this script together, he was pulling ideas from like Ghostbusters, Exorcist, Poltergeist, and stuff like that.
Danae, some of your favorite moments?
Right now, I'm thinking about whenever the ghost daddy appeared and like the blood splatter across his chest and is like.
I wondered if some of this was a little bit too much for you. There's some Poltergeist stuff in here.
Yeah,
or not Poltergeist, Exorcist stuff that's really gross.
But listen, it's just pea soup and everything's fine.
Okay, fair enough.
Just gotta remember pea soup.
Yeah, I don't mind flashes of horror stuff like that whenever it's clearly comedy because you're not in those moments. I can't like watching a horror film where you're immersed in the world.
Right, and the director's purposely
like
trying to make you tense and scared.
The music is there, and it's just that's different than it being a silly visual of Lana Del Rey's like mom or whoever being possessed and just all that stuff. So the ridiculousness of this channel or this particular video on the channel, it's just my favorite.
Lots of good Ghostbuster visuals in there. Appreciated all those.
Some dirty ectoplasm jokes.
Those are in there as well.
Yeah, that was my touch. I was like, let's look for something from the new Ghostbusters where she's actually getting slimed, because there's like a scene and it's like she's just covered in ectoplasm. I was like, and that'll punch.
There it is. So. That's the one.
And then the narration's like on the inside and the out. It's just ridiculousness.
My favorite line in the whole thing was when the kids are making fun of her and call her, "Here comes Floaty McNo-Legs."
That was good.
Here comes Floaty No Legs.
Here comes Floaty No Legs. I wrote that one down too.
I'm just gonna adopt that into my repertoire, and people have no idea what I'm talking about.
It's good stuff.
I also got a huge kick out of the emotional part of the video, where it used all these super emotional scenes of like people disappearing from people's lives. Inside Out was in there. Spider-Man was in there.
Yep.
And I was just like, that is so hilarious, because in context, those scenes are so heart-wrenching, and then to have them applied to this ridiculous made-up ghost story is just the best. So I love that kind of stuff.
Are these your favorite to edit?
Yeah, I mean, they're some of my favorites to edit. They're like, after doing CinemaSins for so long, they're like specific edits that you just really enjoy. But music video from behind has been like by far one of the funnest that I've had the chance to edit, because it gives us a lot more creative control about what's being seen visually. Like most of the time with other Sin scripts, it's just like, you have this time code, this lead in, and then you need to make sure that this punchline and this joke look kind of fit on these narrations. So
right.
You guys never mentioned, but what do you guys think of those the cold opens? When he's talking about the whiny toddler getting the backhand.
Yeah, the music is the whiny toddler, and we're the back of my dad's hand. Like that's so great
and uncomfortable.
That's the thing about it. It's uncomfortable, but also funny.
Well, it's good stuff.
It is really, really good stuff, and it's just fun because there's an air of just silliness and also artistry to it at the same time. It's well done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not like
I hope so. That's the goal.
Well, sometimes you think like, oh, this is just a silly thing, but it's a well done silly thing. So it's like a different level of art, I think is what I'm trying to say.
It makes me think that those 4 years of art college that I paid for went to good use. You know.
Yeah. See, here it is.
You think your professors knew that when you were going to art school? They were like, someday this young man is going to make ghost jokes in a stupid music video.
No, I honestly think they thought worse, but yeah. No.
What a blessed life you live.
Truly a blessed life. Like I get to watch get to watch movies all the time and edit them, so that's great.
It's good stuff. Speaking of movies, look at all these segues. They're beautiful this week. We're going to move on to CinemaSins, and we will start with Batman Hush. This was an Atkinson Scott joint, a classic CinemaSins script from Chris and Jeremy. I have to say, I'm really intrigued by these DC animated movies. I've only watched one, and I watched it for sinning purposes. I was on the Under the Red Hood script, and my kind of assessment from afar is that they're just good enough that the fans can really enjoy them, but they still have a little bit of that straight to DVD quality to them. So it's kind of, I don't know, they're fascinating to me. I haven't felt the need to go watch them like I would, to go watch a live action Batman movie or anything.
Or Batman on Ice.
Or Batman on Ice, which would be a different way to see Batman. Yes, that is correct.
Definitely. No, I've followed these since they started with Justice League War, and they've been great. I mean, they kind of took some of it, the plot line from Justice League War, and turned it into what became the Justice League movie. I really kind of just wish they would just take these scripts and plot lines and just be like, hey, let's make these into live action, because like they're way better to me than anything that's in the live action DC universe.
Yeah, that's not a hard bar to jump over, though. Sometimes, you know what I mean, DC hasn't had the biggest success with the DCEU. But yeah, I haven't seen this one other than watching our video of it. So have you actually watched Batman Hush?
Yeah, I watched it as soon as it came out on digital.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about this one in particular?
It's not as great as the other ones. Like it's just kind of like telling a little bit of Batman's story. I think some of the other ones, like the Batman, Son of Batman, and then like the Death of Superman was really great. And then the one that came out right before this is the Reign of Superman, which was really interesting because it takes on like the man, like who's going to take on the mantle of Superman, and then it's just going to be Superman, And then there's also the Kingdom of Atlantis, I think, is one of them, which is, the Throne of Atlantis, which is great. And I think Jason O'Mar does a really great, O'Mary, I may be saying his last name wrong, does a really great Bruce Wayne Batman. Like, he's added a new, like, a little bit of more of a, like, not as, like, dramatic role, but, like, just add a little bit more humanity to the character, I guess. I don't.
Yeah, no, that's...
Maybe rambling.
No, it's good, because I don't think Danae's seen it either, so I was
Oh, what? Am I supposed to be paying attention? I'm sorry.
Yes, Danae. You're recording a podcast. I was curious to hear kind of your thoughts on it. So I appreciate that. As far as the video...
Well, Jerry O'Connell being Superman, though, like, never would have thought Jerry O'Connell would be a great, like, Superman character, and he has been for these movies, so...
As far as the video goes, boy, is there some Nightwing backlash in the comments. We called Nightwing second-rate Robin, discount Robin, or something like that, and people did not take too kindly to us dissing on Nightwing.
What do you think about that, Creasy?
To be honest, I've never been a Nightwing fan. I do think that the Damian character, who is Bruce's son in this series, is a better Robin, because like there's a fight scene in Batman, Son of Batman, where Damian Robin and Nightwing fight, and Damian just owns Robin, and Damian's like 13.
Yeah.
So to me, like, they've just made Nightwing kind of a weaker character. He's kind of like, he's almost just the playboy hero for these movies. Like, he's just like, because one, he's usually in a romantic relationship, or he's making some sort of like sexy or like sexist comment, or making like a sex joke of some sort. It just seems to be a lot of what his lines are, anyways.
So basically, we're doubling down. We're doubling down on the Nightwing hate. So bring it on, Nightwing lovers.
I did like the our channel commented Nightwing fans are fierce.
Yeah.
And so just sort of like at least giving the fans a chance to kind of go, yeah, we know we did that.
Yeah.
And so now there's comments kind of developing. I mean, they're not all nice, but there's comments developing.
Well, I didn't mean to indicate that I mean, a lot of it seems in good fun to me. People kind of know what the channel does, so it's not,
Do they?
Well, I think most people do.
Most people do,
I think there are certainly a group that do not understand what we do, but yeah, a lot of people do.
I don't have a lot of experience with, I just don't have time to consume a lot of anything. I don't know if you guys, I'm a mom. I'm a new mom, so there's a lot to do.
What?
Creating Play-Doh.
It's no excuse. A child can raise itself.
So I haven't had a lot of time to get into like the Batman universe or comics or anything. Like my big Batman experience was the series from I think like the 90s.
Oh, the animated series, yeah.
Yeah, and I loved Batman more than any superhero when I was growing up. That was like my favorite kind of world. I think this animation style reminds me of that, and I would want to watch these, and I would want to get into them. It's fun. So for me, it's interesting because I'm watching it going, ooh, I want to see this. And then I'm also going, oh, yeah, that's bad. Like the whole coming in and whoever was at Nightwing was on the bar, the gymnastics bar, and there's like the pommel horse over on the corner. Like that kind of stuff, just zooming in on that was so funny. The pommel horse on the edge as an invitation to die. Stuff like that. Like, and then the other stuff that bothers me about, like, as I was kind of watching it, the split up between Catwoman and why they split up and everything like that would bother me too. So it's kind of good to just go in knowing I'm going to be disappointed but wanting to watch it anyway.
I think my favorite joke in the whole thing was when they're talking about how many can one city have that many chemical plants, and then they close it by going asking for a Houston. And what I love about that joke is the research to know that Houston does have way too many chemical plants. And then you go into the comments, and people from Houston are like, "I was ready to comment," and then you ruined it by saying asking for a Houston. So it's perfect.
It is. It's a reminder of the kind of script level writing. This is another one that makes you just want to quit. They're probably going to happen all the time. Let's just be honest. I don't know that I'm ever going to get over my fear of never reaching the bar. But I like when Jeremy and Chris write together.
Yeah,
because that happened again just recently.
Yeah.
And I find it to be so much fun.
They usually write on one or together on at least one a month, one or two a month.
Yeah.
That they write together. And then they write
fun.
separately with the rest of us, obviously, at times too. So,
which is terrifying.
I feel like that's how you can either tell that they really love or hate a movie is when they're working on one together.
Oh,
because I know that they seem to like these animated movies.
That's fascinating. I can never really tell, which I think is kind of the point. All right. Anything else about Batman Hush?
Yeah.
Oh, bring it on, Danae. What else did you love?
This one has one of my favorite burns I've seen to date, which was when Catwoman says, "Mind if I tag along?" And the sin was thing a few dozen YouTube channels said to CinemaSins a few years after we got popular. I was like, oh, I haven't seen us dig anybody yet. That was so fun. I really enjoyed that one a lot.
Nice.
I literally paused it and I had to just take a burn into the whole thing. And so.
Well, but the good news is we were like, sure, whatever. Tag along.
But it's still fun to kind of like jab at.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is more for the fans who don't realize that we were first.
No,
or whatever.
Nobody says that.
I've seen that 2 or 3 times just since starting.
What?
I know. I know.
That's
you gotta
wild.
wonder how old those people are, though. Too sometimes it's like kids who just got internet access for the first time.
Must be.
Like, what is this?
They think that if they go to a channel first, then the channel came first.
Yeah, I take it back.
So that one I loved because it's kind of like just a blanket statement.
Yeah,
and it's not necessarily a dig at other channels. It's just like I don't know. I really like that one. What about you, Creasy? Did you have anything else?
Well, the bondage jokes that Catwoman seemed to have were pretty hilarious that we commented on.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned earlier the pegging one, which I forgot about with the scar when she looks at his scars. Yeah.
I have to say on the pegging joke, somebody on Twitter tweeted me and said, "I bet this was a Dicer joke," and I think I'm getting this reputation. And can I just say, I am very proud to say, for once, I literally didn't know what this was. I literally had to research this.
You researched it?
I literally, to my own horror, I literally had to research this. I shouldn't say that. Whatever. What people do in their own bedrooms, whatever. But I literally had to research this one. So, naive for the win for once.
I love it.
So yes, strike that one in the air in his naive corner.
Yay,
I don't know. It's not always me. It's not always me. What were you going to say, Creasy? You had another one you wanted to mention.
I had another one that was earlier in the video, which is the kid with the filthy mouth. I always love like when he kicks him and he curses, and then Jeremy comments on it, and I was just like, yeah, but Jeremy, you curse more in animated movies and kids' movie sins than any other video ever. like it's something that we picked up on. It's like, do you notice they swear more when it's animated and there's and it's a child's movie? Like, is there a reason for that?
It could be. It could be just a natural reaction to the juxtaposition, right? Like it becomes.
I think that's what it is.
When it's juxtaposed? Nope. Juxtaposed. Try to throw an extra syllable in there.
Juxtaposed.
So yeah, I think that probably has something to do with it.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, now are we done with Batman Hush?
Yep.
Let's move on to Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Nope.
No, you don't want to move on to Godzilla, King of the Monsters?
Go ahead.
I mean, the video was 24 minutes long.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
There's a lot going on. Yeah, this one was Atkinson's share joint. So Chris and Barrett wrote on this one. Let's talk about the movie first. I'm on record in multiple places in my movie criticism career of saying how bad I think this movie is. It is a huge disappointment for me. I was one of the defenders of Kong Skull Island. I really enjoyed that movie for what it was. But this movie is just so lost in its... In fact, I will go ahead and pull one of the sins out to help summarize my opinion. One of the sins says, a stupid movie full of stupidisms. That's kind of what
So eloquent.
So eloquently states how I feel about this movie. If it wants to be a monster movie where monsters fight each other, it doesn't do that enough. And if it wants to be a more nuanced and intelligent thought piece on conflict and tribalism, it doesn't do that well. Like it doesn't know what movie it wants to be, and it doesn't do either movie very well, in my opinion. So yeah, I really didn't enjoy it.
I agree with that. I mean, the action scenes are great in the movie. Like I found, like, I wish there was more wide shots, like we say in the video. I feel like they tried to double down on the Bryan Cranston issue, because like they got these amazing actors to be in this movie, and then they give them this awful like storyline to work with, and it's just like, okay, what does that have to do with monsters fighting?
Yeah, it's just the weird drama and the weird character choices, and yeah, it's a very strange movie. Danae, did you ever see it? Did you end up seeing it?
That's funny.
That's a hard no?
It's a hard no. I don't know that I've ever really been excited to see monsters fighting each other.
Interesting.
But I was connecting to that while watching the Sins movie, thinking, wouldn't it be great if we could actually see the monsters fighting? And I feel like towards the end of the video, you could see more like big monsters destroying stuff and fighting, and you could kind of see their fights a little bit better. So maybe they were trying to save those towards the end instead of give you like the full thing at the beginning.
I think that's what they did, but they I didn't even like the way they shot the monster fights. They were too close up. You couldn't tell what was going on.
Well, yeah, and I liked how the who was the script writer on this one?
This was Chris and Barrett.
Okay, so I like how Chris and Barrett were like comparing it to Transformers. Yeah. Which is, it had that feel like where it's just all CGI and it's so much happening you can't really focus on it. But in a different way where it had like the dark, it's the whole sin about now we're introducing dark vision, you know, where it's just we overlay everything with darkness so you can't see anything.
As much as I hate the action in Transformers, I think it's better than the action in Godzilla King of Monsters.
Oh, yeah, by far. Like, with the practical effects that are in Transformers, I think add to their quality just a little bit, even though they're not great. Like, do you guys ever remember seeing the movie Dragon Wars?
No.
No, so that's how bad the CGI was for me, like, in certain spots, especially when Ghidorah comes out of the ice. I'm just like, man, why do I feel like I'm watching that B movie Dragon Wars all over again?
Yeah. Yeah, very unfortunate. Yeah. Well, let's move on from that and talk about the fun of the video.
Hey, Creasy, before we go, did you edit any of these?
I review almost all the videos that come out of the before they go off to the guys for review. Essentially with these videos, it's just like we get the script, it has the time codes in it with the lead-ins, and then like sometimes there are like visual cues that we're given, and then like we can either decide to make those lead-ins or not. And we try to do like little winks and nods here inside like the narration part of the edit, and like, but we try to keep what's on the visual screen to what Jeremy's talking about in the narration or what the script itself is talking about. I mean, essentially, these are just kind of like really like easy kind of assembly edits. They're just taxing because of how long it takes to make them. When I first took over doing CinemaSins all by myself, we were doing like 172 Sins scripts always. So like a normal edit would take me like an 8 to 9 hour day just to like knock it out. It just comes down to like chopping everything up, making sure everything like looks really nice and everything's flowing really well. And sometimes that's really hard considering some of the newer styles of editing are very like, you know, just quick quick cuts and like especially with fighting scenes. And Godzilla is one of the worst about this. Like we're gonna look here and then we're gonna look there and then we're gonna be here and then we're gonna do a wide shot and then we're gonna do a close up. So it was like we try to make it visually interesting. There's little things like that, especially on a big action film like Godzilla. Like we tend to take our time with the action scene cuts or like slow them down to a good bit so where like you can take in all the visual information that is in the scene in the scene itself.
Yeah, and that's actually really appreciated. We go through several processes. So after the video is done, then it comes back to the writing team for us all to get our eyes on and make sure that their narration matches up with the video and that the sin count is right. And we still miss stuff from time to time, but it goes through, as you guys can tell, a lot of eyeballs before it ever gets to YouTube. And there are some times when it's like, hey, could you slow that down a little bit so that by the time the narrator gets to this word, you know, it really punches it home. And so it's like all of us sort of working together to try to, you know, bring the script to life and make it, you know, make it fun.
What are some of your favorite jokes from the Godzilla movie?
Mine personally, what was she brought it up was how dark everything was. The CGI scene, like that is just like spot on, just like one of my favorite. Like whenever we can talk about visual effects in these things, it always cracks me up because like granted, I'm not a great visual effects artist, but like I have an eye for it. And for some reason, just every time we talk, like I can just like, yes, that, because like if it doesn't hold up over time, it's not great visual effects. I mean, because you look at Jurassic Park 1994 and like those still hold up. Like those, everything in that just still feels great. So like those always kind of hit my funny bone. There was one that we kind of missed that we didn't have in the video, but I really wish we would have commented on. Bradley Whitford's character makes a comment in the movie where he goes, I think it's Kyle Chandler's character says, "Are you recording this?" And he goes, "I record everything. I record everything."
Everything.
Yeah, and then, like there's just this little awkward glance between the two of them, and they're like, "Yeah, I just realized what you said, and that's very disturbing." But let's get back to this giant epic monster battle that's going on in front of us.
There's something to be learned about that. If you want to reveal something awkward about yourself, do it whenever there's like a monster battle happening. So it's just sort of like you sort of slide it in there, and then you have to move on because there's something major.
And there's the sin. You just wrote the sin for that moment.
Right. That's when you reveal something really horrible and awkward about yourself.
Yeah.
Just right then.
In fact, just have a big monster fight clip on your phone available at any time.
Yes.
And then whenever you accidentally say something awkward or reveal something you don't want people to know,
distract them immediately.
Watch these monsters fight.
Oh!
People won't even know.
That's right.
They'll totally forget. Godzilla can smell these people are good. Made me laugh quite a bit.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The juicing, the MLB in the MLB stadium was very funny. And of course, commenting on 11. Your
Yes.
powers don't work here.
Yep. Yeah,
all
you
good
just
stuff.
mentioned all the ones that I like too.
Well, you're welcome, Danae. I'm here to steal your favorite jokes. I found this video hilarious. I thought it was a great job. When I saw it was 24 minutes long, that there's always that piece of me that's like, 20, really? I'm going to spend the next 25 minutes watching? Didn't feel like that at all during the video. I was happy the entire way. So
You should go express that in the comments. Really, 27 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Oh, never mind. I'm good.
yeah, exactly.
Did you guys also see in the comments everybody commenting about Rodan when like in the sin we mentioned like the city's burning, so why is Rodan still alive? And everybody's like, he's a fire demon. He bleeds lava, and I'm just like, we get it. We get it.
Yeah.
Anything else about King of Monsters?
Oh, he loved her back to life.
Oh man.
Okay, and that's it.
Oh man.
That's it.
That movie. I'm ready to be done thinking about this movie.
Let's do it. Let's move on to the next thing.
All right, let's move on to keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We're each going to pick something from the editing process, tabs we can remember having open, deleted sins, embarrassing searches, all that kind of stuff goes here. We each get to pick one. Creasy, did you pick something for keeping tabs?
I really didn't have anything, unfortunately, just because, like, for us, it's we kind of just go off the script. So, like, there wasn't anything too, like, off the beaten path
Sure.
for us.
That's why I wondered.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I wondered. Danae, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You can go.
All right, let's talk about period taboo.
Oh, great.
So let's get
Excellent.
serious just for a second before I talk about my search. Our culture definitely has a period taboo. And Danae, you actually are one of the first people to write a period joke in a Sins script.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate it. And I appreciate having a woman on the writing staff because of that. But I did a search for euphemisms for a woman's period. And I just want to admit up front.
Ant Flo's coming to town.
Exactly, those kind of things.
Yeah.
I want to admit, and this was for the moment when the guys know when the girls' periods are. It's kind of like there's period taboo in the episode because they never mention it.
In the Friends episode?
In the
Yeah.
Friends episode, yeah, but you kind of know what they're talking about. So the sin it was check-in day at the Red Roof Inn, which was my favorite euphemism that I found.
You did great.
But before we get into it, I do want to say that
You're not a female.
I am not a female. Thank you. And also that I think it is very important that we quit treating this like something that can't be talked about. Like period taboo is
Okay. But like you don't understand. Like it's disgusting and embarrassing. You will never understand what it is like to just be sitting there in your life and then all of a sudden feel warm gush out of,
Right.
yes, that's a word, and I'm sorry if it triggered you. And then in front of all of your friends or whoever, you stand up and you are bloody. Like
Right.
it's just something you don't want to talk about. It is
Sure.
not great.
Sure.
It's not great.
But you shouldn't feel ashamed of it. Like it's not like it's a natural thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. The difference is, understanding, sure, I feel gross or, whatever is different than I'm sorry. Like you don't have to be sorry. Like it's okay,
I feel like it's the same
It is
thing
a
as-
bodily function.
It
That's
is
right.
a bodily function, and I appreciate that. It would be like if somebody has an accident in school, like they pee themselves or something.
Or somebody sneezes and snot comes out of their nose.
Right. It should be something as simple as like instead of going ew gross,
Exactly.
it should be do you
That's
need
all I'm
do you
saying.
need a tissue, or
That's all I'm saying.
perhaps don't wear white when you're about to start your period,
Right. Or perhaps no when you're about to, start your period.
or perhaps just skip school for a whole week.
Is that where the white after Labor Day thing comes from? I've always wondered about that.
Can we just say yes?
Sure, Creasy. Yes, that's exactly right. So anyway,
I just don't know. I was just wondering.
let's get to some of my favorite euphemisms.
Good stuff.
Unless you don't want me to, Danae.
I love this.
Okay.
I love this so much. I'm all about normalizing body function.
All right. Experiencing the red wedding is one of them that people
That's a
say
little
now.
too much.
Now after
I'm
Game
already
of Thrones.
offended.
I'm going to be listening to the Cranberries for a couple days.
I like that one.
So let's see. I'm having the Painters in.
Nope, don't like that one at all.
I'm experiencing the girl flu.
Nope.
Have you heard that one?
Nope.
No. Shark Week, I think, is one people have
Definitely
heard.
don't like that one. Thank you. Thank
that's
you,
not
Aaron. Appreciate that visual. Great. Now a shark. Great.
I didn't order the code red.
I like that one. I like that one, yeah.
Why does that make me cringe and not Danae?
And this is one I think I've heard you use. Maybe you even used it in that friend script. Moontime.
The moon door.
Yeah, the moon door.
I made it up
Opening the-
during Game of Thrones. So it was the moon door.
Yeah. And it took that one took me a second because
We cycled to the moon.
you cycled to the moon, and it didn't
Yeah.
think about it in that way. So yeah, that one was interesting to me too. Moontime.
I loved, there was one day that I had a conversation. I am the kind of friend for guys that they can ask whatever and it's like not a big deal.
Right.
And so I would regularly get questions about like body function, one of them being periods. And when I told my friend that we cycle to the moon, he thought that I was just BSing. He got really mad at me.
He got mad at you?
Yeah, because he's like, I thought that I could ask you anything
What
and
are
you'd
you,
answer.
a werewolf now?
Now you're telling me you cycle to the moon like some magical thing, and I'm like, okay, go ask somebody
It
else.
does feel very magical. You have to admit that's really interesting.
Women are magical.
It's wow.
And that's why we shouldn't be ashamed of our stuff.
I think the period is fascinating because it's not only the moon thing, but like syncing cycles is a thing. Like your body chooses in some way or another
Who's
when
alpha?
to do this. It's mind-blowing. It's not something, it seems involuntary, right? And it seems like it's something that happens periodically. That's where the word comes from. But at the same time, it changes based on your environment.
True. Yep.
That's fascinating.
Oh yeah. Like the first time that
like you can change it.
A friend of mine's daughter called. She was asking questions about her body because she was more comfortable talking to me. I'm the body expert. I don't know how. And she had just moved into a dorm. And she was like all out of crazy, just feeling really crazy. And I was like, well, are you around only women? Yeah. Okay. Well, did you know that once you get around other women, you kind of sync cycles and there's like this hormone like barragement? And she had no idea. So then after about a couple months, 2 or 3 months, everything kind of just got all evened out.
I've also come to understand that guys have a cycle as well, a hormonal cycle. There just isn't as much of a physical response to it.
And there's no cool words for it.
Right, yeah.
What would you call that?
The geikel?
The geikel? That's a good start. It's the
horrible.
start.
It's horrible.
It's the start of a list.
Sorry, guys, I'm on my geikel.
Oh my goodness. What did I step into over here?
Yeah, Creasy's like, I didn't know when I agreed that this is where we were going. So anyways,
I grew up with my mom and my sister, so there were many times where I was asked, go run down to the Walgreens and pick up some tampons. I'm like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
See that?
But
it is, and that's what to kind of go full circle to the beginning. That is what I'm talking about with pop culture does, where it's like the guy has to hide that he's buying the tampons, or whatever, and it's just like, I don't know. We do this thing where we make it embarrassing or shameful, and it's just like, do you get embarrassed when you buy Kleenexes? Like, I don't know, or toilet paper. Toilet paper would be pretty embarrassing, right? Like. It's weird to me.
Not as embarrassing as buying adult diapers, I think.
But it shouldn't be.
Like, even though, and you're right, it shouldn't be, but still, sometimes you just got to be like, I'm going to buy this blanket and then this box that's underneath it. So just scan them at the same time.
That's right. So anyways, that's my keeping tabs. Danae, what do you got?
So I wrote on Big Bang Theory, and the one that I spent the most time looking up was the fun fact: humans in general can't process corn.
Ah, yes.
So this is actually the one that you added the nerds thing on, and I just so here's what I wrote, and then you say what you added. Okay. So I wrote, fun fact, humans in general can't process corn. Well, technically we can digest part of it, but our body doesn't have the bacteria necessary to digest the cellulose or the pericarp. Look at me flexing my nerd knowledge on the nerds.
Who's the nerd now, nerd?
And now you're taking credit for the entire joke.
I did not take credit for the entire joke. I said it was the one thing I added.
I just set you up. I set you up.
She set me up.
I set you up. No, but that was interesting because I remember being told that we have a hard time processing corn, and specifically don't feed corn to young children. Like, just wait until they're older. Like, we can process it. It's fine. It doesn't necessarily hurt us, but it also just sits inside of our intestines.
Yeah.
And when you're really little, it's not really good to back up your intestines with stuff that it's not needed there. And so when Sheldon was, making a stab at his friend, I was like, wait a second, can anybody process corn? So then I went and learned all about how, yes, we can, but it's like the inside of the corn, because the outside, the husk, is what has to last out there to plant, to be the seed for the next corn.
You got it, yeah.
Which is why, when birds eat it and then they, fly and then they poop someplace else and corn pops up, so we're all just doing our part, except for we should poop out in the nature.
Did you just say corn pops?
Oh, that's disgusting. Because I like corn pops cereal.
I do too. You didn't know that's how it was made, though, did you? It's like that one coffee.
Yes. Cat pee coffee or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I don't think corn has any nutritional value anymore either. Like, I think we've bred the nutritional value out of it.
That's actually true for most of our fruits and vegetables, is that our soil is so depleted of nutrients that a lot of our fruits and vegetables, they can technically do contain nutrition, but not a lot. Which is why I take, I'm just going to say it, I take Juice Plus.
And she has some she'll sell you if you want to contact her.
That's actually true. Because I want to take additional fruits and vegetables to try to give something to my body.
Yeah.
Because, you're right. It's a lot of our food lacks nutrition.
There is a balance in understanding how nutrition works that I've been finding out a lot about in my recent eating habits. I have a close friend who stopped eating corn, which, by the way, is not easy. because corn is in a lot.
Yes.
We
It's a
use
filler.
corn for sugars. We use corn for starch.
Yeah.
It's in a lot of stuff. And she was talking about how since she stopped eating corn, her back pain went away, different things in her body changed, those kind of things. And I, as usual, was skeptical about that. And I stopped eating all corn products for a different reason, just kind of zoning in my diet. And I kind of had the same experience. Like, I started feeling a lot healthier.
On behalf of her.
Well, I didn't. Okay, now listen. I'm not that jerk. I'm not like in the face going,
told you.
"You're wrong." No, I listen and I take it in, and internally I go, "I'm not sure about that."
I don't believe you.
I was excited to let her know that I kind of had a similar experience and just say, and I think that's fair. There are just certain things that our body doesn't need, and it can kind of gum stuff up. So,
Well, I mean, yeah, because like I've been going on a diet for the last couple months, and just trying to cut dairy out has been a painful process because apparently, like, the human body can process dairy, it's just not supposed to at this age. So it's just like, well, you know what? I love cheese.
Yeah, there are certain things that just gum up our system, and the more research that comes out about how to just use your body, like use food as fuel effectively. The Mediterranean diet is a really good kind of
shout
diet
out to
look
Whole
toward.
30. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And again, just as a way to zone in on my diet and figure out the most nutrient-based stuff. And basically, I mean, the idea is just eat natural stuff. Eat stuff that is, fruits, vegetables, meats, proteins.
Can I just totally go off the rails here?
Well, I mean, your name is Danae Hughes.
Okay, so I just picked up this. I picked up this pen, and it says "Beautiful Boy." What's this from?
That's from a movie.
Oh.
A movie called Beautiful Boy.
Okay,
Because movies send me stuff.
I was like, it's a really nice pen.
It is a very nice pen.
It's extremely heavy. It's metallic.
Here, I'm ready to do one of my favorite things. You ready for this? Danae, I gave you that pen as a gift after I got it.
You did?
Because I said, this is a nice pen, and I know you like nice pens.
That's why it's in my drawer.
Yes.
Why does it say "Beautiful Boy" on it? That is one of your favorite things, is to remind
We're
me.
reminding you, yes, of things you have
Well,
forgotten.
how long has "Beautiful Boy" been out?
I don't know. Creasy, when did Beautiful Boy come out? That seems like that was either last year, maybe the year before.
I want to say it came out early this year, actually, but
No, I think it was
'Cause, like, it's
2018.
Gosh, this is a nice pen. Thanks,
October
Aaron.
10th, 2018, so almost exactly a year ago.
Oh my gosh.
okay, wow, yeah.
And I would have gotten that pin probably around end of November
Hey,
last year.
thank you, man. This
You're
is super
welcome.
nice.
Yeah, it was actually your birthday gift last year, right around your birthday. So
All right, sorry about
Enjoy
that.
this pin. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
that's right.
Thank you
It says
so
a
much.
lot about me that I give, free things that
Okay.
people send me to others as birthday gifts.
You've given me
You're
like
the best regifter.
I
You
am,
are.
man. I am.
They're cool though, because they're like movie
That's
things.
how I feel. Like there are a lot of people in my life that I give really cool movie related stuff because they just send it to me.
Hey, I know you like journals. Have this journal.
That's right.
I
It's
do love
thoughtful.
pens.
I think it's really thoughtful.
This pen is dangerous, man. This could hurt somebody. It's so heavy.
Also a reason I gave it to you as a weapon.
Oh, you know me so well.
Well, thank you, Danae, for derailing us.
Hey, no problem. Let's
Much
get back
appreciate-
to it. We were on keeping tabs, but I actually didn't have anything else this week.
Okay.
Did you?
No, I think we're good. We can move on to the comment section.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
Let's each pick a comment or two to respond from the week's videos. We can also include general feedback here as well. Although in this case, we're going to talk to Creasy a little bit about what he does at Made In. But first, let's look at some comments from the week's videos. I just have one this week. Danae, how many do you have?
12.
Danae has 12, so just start listing them so we can get on with it.
Well,
I've got one as well.
oh, really? Well, maybe you guys should just go, and then I'll just go
And
on
then
a
just
rant.
let you go on a rant?
Oh, I'll do one, and then you guys do one, and then I'll go on a rant. Does that sound okay?
Wait,
I'll start.
You start.
Yeah, and then you two go, and then I'll have a little rant.
All right.
Does that sound okay?
The danger is if you start and you steal our only one,
Oh, that's true.
that is the only danger.
Okay, that's true. Okay, you're right. You're right. All right, go ahead, Aaron.
I'll go first. This just gave me a smile. And look, if there's any well-defined way to make sure your comment shows up on Behind the Sins, give us a shout out. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Is this from X Booker?
Yes.
Yay! I was gonna steal yours.
I figured you might. Because it was in Music from Behind, and it was Danae's classic thing where she looks for somebody who didn't realize the video was fake until a certain part, and says, I wasn't sure if this was real until the family ecto-containment chamber part. Then I knew it was. And then many spaces down, it says, Hi, B-Team. We just got trolled, which I love. And I love that people are just calling us B-Team now. It makes me so happy.
I know.
So there you go. That's your shout out on Behind the Sins. What did you have, Creasy?
Do you guys say the names of the usernames?
If we can pronounce them, yeah.
Yeah, this is super easy. It's Jessie Jensen. She's like, this is from Godzilla, King of Monsters. It's Minnesota was mentioned. Thank you. This makes me more happy than you can imagine. I was just like, man, is Minnesota really just not talked about it all that much, or is it just that boring there? And I really enjoyed, like, yes, Minnesota made it into a CinemaSins video.
Yeah, it's kind of like that thing at like a stand-up comedy show or wherever where they just barely mention a city or a state and like half the crowd or like 3 random people in the back like holler. And it's like we have this human thing where when we hear the place we're from, it's like somehow validating to us. Like, what is that?
We're on the map!
Like, that happened in the same general geographical location that I was raised in.
And we don't do that when it's like just mention of like Homo sapiens.
Right, yeah.
Like the whole world isn't like, that's us.
Man, it really is a testament to how deeply ingrained tribalism is, right? Like this idea that we identify with a certain geography it's fascinating to me. And I mean,
that's part of the reason football's so popular, right?
Yeah.
And sports in general.
Sports in general play on this a lot.
Sports. Sorry. I still have to practice to make sure I'm sounding super relevant in sports season time.
Those are some of my favorite comments too, Creasy, are the ones where people will pick up on something that like is particular to them, and they're just like, yeah, shout out to Minnesota. So, yeah, good stuff.
Well, I just felt like Minnesota, like I just imagined her a Minnesota accent, like, and then I just imagined, thank you so much for that. Just, that's just great there.
That was really good. Are you from Minnesota?
No, we used to, when I was a kid, we used to have this joke. It's like, I was driving down the road the other day and I hit a Canadian moose.
It's very Canadian. Very Canadian.
I loved Fargo as a kid, so like, even though that's Dakota, so. Yeah.
There's something so funny about the Canadian accent, and when I say funny, I mean like interesting for me. Because so much of the people who I heard growing up using a Canadian accent were in comedies. So like Strange Brew or, Jeff Daniels did one about the UP, the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. Just anyways, anytime somebody had a Canadian accent, it was usually a hilarious thing. That if I ever see a clip of like a news show or somebody talking about something serious with a Canadian accent, I can't take it seriously. I start giggling.
You would love Letterkenny then, I think.
Yeah, it just makes me laugh so much. All right, Danae, you ready to go on your tirade of comments?
Yes, this is from The Big Bang Theory. I didn't get the name, but it was the first sin should have been something to the effect of, why is Sheldon, a theoretical physicist, describing to Leonard, an experimental physicist, one of the most widely known experiments having to do with the foundation of physics? Not only should the roles be reversed, but it's an experiment done in the first year bachelor classes. These two have doctorates. High school seniors thinking about becoming engineers or physicists would know about that experiment. So I loved this comment, stand alone, because obviously I found a smart person.
Yeah.
But then it became a whole like conversation thread underneath of basically super smart people talking to each other.
And let's just pause and say, super duper smart people watch CinemaSins.
Yeah.
All right, continue on.
Yeah. We're your people too.
We set a high bar.
We do. Right as you said that, somebody writes, I love penis in our Discord. So
Yep, that is CinemaSins.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. Both things.
Yep, they can coexist.
Both things can be true.
One of the I will actually only read a couple more of the comment thread, but I found this really interesting. So then Rhett responds by saying, "You've uncovered the reason why actual engineers hate this show but love Silicon Valley. Funny thing is, I've used this as an example for my non-engineer friends, and that they just kind of stare at me blankly. One of them is a firefighter, and I said, try to imagine if a scene opened up with two firefighters talking about how fire burns. You see, fire requires oxygen and combustible materials to use as fuel. It's actually a rapid process via oxidation." So again, trying to kind of showcase why this show is kind of annoying to the smart people,
right?
And then more people are talking about, Big Sheldon assumes that everyone is stupid. That's why this makes sense. And I'm a biology student and I hate physics and still don't know about this experiment. So this is for me too. And the comments continue on with running jokes, and it just kind of gave a little more of a view into why this show is lovable and hateable to different audiences, which I didn't understand until I got into the comments. So I love the comments for that very, very reason.
That was great.
See, my rant wasn't too long today.
No.
I did pretty good.
That was great. That's
Thanks.
it?
That's it.
That's pretty much one comment.
Well, it was multiple within one.
Sure. No, we count that.
Oh, okay.
That's a nice little loophole you can always use.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's replies, those get to count.
Oh,
for sure.
I'll keep that in mind.
Nice.
This is like when I was talking about us making up rules earlier. This is what I'm talking about.
Very nice. Good.
Let's set a timer, and then in 12 seconds, it'll be 50 seconds longer.
What?
Like the Friends video.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay.
Keep up with me, people.
I have no idea what kind of weird, magical, new age mumbo jumbo you're speaking over there. But okay.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the question for the week, which is more of an interview since Creasy is joining us from Made In. And has graciously agreed to let us grill him about what it's like to be over there at Made In. I guess the first thing people will probably want to know is how this relationship started. What does Made In do in general for CinemaSins? Like, what is that relationship as far as...
How did you come to the job?
Yeah, all that stuff. Start with kind of the general and then kind of move into your own specifics.
Am I technically your boss? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
No, that's the most important question.
That's Janae's most important question.
Yes.
Am I your boss?
Can I order you around?
I ask myself that question a lot too. Who is Janae and why is she? No, I've been with Made In Network for probably 5 years, probably a little less than that. I originally started as an intern. I graduated college in 2014 from just a little art school here in Nashville, and I started out on music video sins. So like I helped get all the first couple videos together and launched, and then from that I kind of worked as a freelance editor while working like two other jobs. Because at the time Made In was a really small company. At the time it was only like 4 or 5 people, but that's kind of where I started. And then as soon as I came on full staff, I started doing pretty much handling most of the CinemaSins edit. And then as most people will remember, some of the earlier years at MVS were very old school videos, Hungry Like the Wolf and stuff like that. My first video was the Taylor Swift and Party in the USA, and then also the Everybody Talks. And I can't tell you how many times I had to re-edit Everybody Talks. It was an experience. I literally hear that song now and cringe.
No.
Yeah. What was there was another one, Take On Me too. Take On Me we didn't release until much later, but it was one of the first videos I ever edited. For some reason, because I wasn't working in the office, but I was dropping off my project files, somehow the entire project file got lost, so I had to re-edit it, and we had to redo all the notes and everything. So I was like, used to be one of my favorite songs, not anymore.
What is that process like for people? People may be curious, how does a general script find its way to YouTube?
Pretty much what. I am right now is what I'm known as the project manager. So I make sure everybody has an assignment and we're getting edits out on time. And the way this happens is we'll get scripts in, and usually what we'll do is we'll get scripts and footage together, and we'll start cutting that up and creating all the textiles and stuff that from the script, and just kind of get a preliminary pre-edit together. That sometimes doesn't happen. Sometimes just due to people's schedules, we get everything all in at once and we just build it from the top down. That used to be the way it was back when we had fewer people working on the team. Now what happens is someone usually pre-edits, does a pre-edit, which is just cutting up everything. Jeremy will send in VO, and then someone will do the assembly, and then someone will come back in, review that edit, take a look at it, make any subtle changes to it, and then we'll send it off to you guys, the writers, for your notes and any sin cuts and stuff like that. And then, of course, any pickups that we may need from Jeremy and stuff like that, we note as well. So
a pickup that's kind of the flow. When we realize something in the process of like editing or whatever, where the narrator has to redo a line, essentially.
Yeah. It's just a narration pickup. And like sometimes that could be we're changing a scene altogether, or like he messed up a word, so we need the narrator to do something different here. So
and can I just say, shout out to Jeremy for as many scripts as he reads every week. His rate of mistakes is very low. Like, I'm super impressed.
Yeah.
with
and oftentimes I've noticed it's actually our mistake. Like, we forgot to tell him how to pronounce something specifically, and then he has to do it again. So
cutting up his VO is fun sometimes because like you can tell when he's like frustrated with a script or a word because and you can tell like when he's just like, okay, we gotta change how we write these, because he'll just he has like these mini conversations with the editor, and of course they're all one sided, but he's like, and then he's just like, you get me, you understand. He doesn't say that exactly sometimes, but like sometimes he'll just say certain things. He's like, I'm so sorry that you have to listen to me rant.
So yeah, like, what are some of your favorite, memories of your job?
Well, I mean, there are tons of different moments. There's always it's always really great when we can read the comments and like really see that people have grown passionate about like some of the edits, and like us on the back end team. We're not really seeking attention. We're just like, this is what we've got. We're putting it out there. Here you go. Enjoy it. I think Fate of the Furious was one of my favorites because it was one of the times where I got to I kind of got to play with the sin counter a little bit, where we killed it.
Yeah.
If you were like, this was right before we did a Comic-Con here in Nashville, which you came up for, Aaron.
Yep.
I made it flash like really quickly in the glitch. I was like, "Help me, please!" And I was like, "Oh man, I hope somebody sees this." Granted, I put it in with the total expectation that no one would ever see it. But as soon as some of the fans started hitting the booth, he's like, "Were you the one who put that in there?" I was like, "Yes, someone saw it. I'm so happy."
I love the fact that you guys are willing to let us play with the form. It's been one of my favorite things over this last year. By the way, I'm celebrating my year anniversary working for.
Nice, yeah. Well, congratulations, happy.
Full time, and my 2-year anniversary for working with CinemaSins altogether.
And I haven't been fired yet.
No, you haven't. Neither have I.
And Creasy, you're here too. Let's just celebrate. We're all just celebrating.
We're all celebrating. But anyways,
celebrating.
One of my favorite things is how you guys are so willing to bring our vision to life.
Yeah.
I specifically think of the Red Wedding in the Game of Thrones video. I had this idea of the sin counter trying to keep up with Jeremy's emotional state at the end of that video as people are dying, and yet it's so amazing. And so like it's that conflicting, euphoria as well as tragedy. And so the sin counter's like going up and down, and like that kind of stuff or the end of the Sopranos video as well, like where we played with the timing on the blackout and the ding. And I just love that you guys are like so game for that stuff. It just makes it really fun.
Yeah. Well, we're always down for an editing challenge. Like that's the thing. Like these, when you talk about editing in general, these relatively are just assembly edits. And then anytime we get to do anything graphically or visually, it's always a little fun. Like in the the Con Air video, I don't know why I did it, but I spent probably 15 minutes trying to get that arrow to follow that cigarette being thrown down, because I was like, I'm gonna get this. This thing is gonna disappear and everything. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, we love to try to do a little challenge here and there, and anytime like you guys throw in like the cut to like the off of air stuff like that. We kind of enjoy it. It throws us for a loop sometimes because we're not expecting it, and then like also it's also enjoyable because like, hey, we get to throw a breath of fresh air into an edit, like
cool,
because these do start to blend together for us after a while.
Oh,
like,
sure.
'cause we're doing so many of them.
Yeah.
Like there are times where people would ask me like, "What are you working on right now?" And I'm just like, "What's coming out next week?"
Yeah, I have no idea. We're the same way because we're writing scripts.
That's
2
why I
weeks
made a
out,
calendar.
and, yeah. We're writing scripts 2 weeks out. The edits due a week out now. So yeah, it's crazy. A huge props on the little stuff that nobody notices. There are times when you have to, because of a audio fragment or a video fragment, you have to, cut out several frames of video and rate stretch it and still try to match it with the audio. And like, not to get too detailed on editing stuff, but people don't realize all the little details to make it look interesting instead of like jumbled and messy.
I'm just like curious, and we probably couldn't answer this just off the top of our heads. Maybe we can. Let's find out. But if you think about it, like the writing process, the narration process, the editing process, and then after that, the review process, and then the posting process. That's kind of, in my brain, that's the quick 5.
Sure, yeah.
I wonder how many hours goes into...
How many man hours per video?
Yeah.
It would be an interesting thing to pick. You got to figure both script writers are probably writing at least 3 or 4.
Well, it would need to be for like a TV and then the movie. There would be a
I think you
difference
just
in
do
time.
it for the movie because it's, kind of the longer one and the one more people know.
Because I know for me, I for my writing process, sometimes I'll have 16 hours in one just because
that's on the top end.
Because I'm new. So let's shave it down and say 10.
Yeah, I've told people for me, I've gotten it down to like 4x, which basically means 4 times whatever the material is. So an hour and a half movie will usually take me, 6 hours, something like that. So let's say conservatively, both writers take about 6 or 7 hours.
I wonder how long it would take. So that's 12. Let's say 12 hours for writing on one script. And then I wonder how long it takes Jeremy to narrate.
I'm guessing about the length of the video, maybe a few minutes longer.
So like 30 minutes?
Usually it's about 30 minutes to 19 minutes, just depending on the length of the video. Are there any difficult lines in it? How many times does he have to do an additional line read?
So we're about 12 and a half. Gracie, about how long
exactly.
ish do you think it takes to edit a movie?
Yeah, let's say a
CinemaSins?
typical 90-minute movie, so a typical 17-minute, video. About how many man hours are you guys spending on it?
Well, on us, for us, it's different depending on the level of the editor.
Sure.
So, like an entry-level editor, usually it'll take maybe 1 to 2 days to put together like a really large CinemaSins script. When I started, we were doing like 170 something sins, and it would take me 8 hours to just finish this, and then Brad would review it the next day. So you're looking at probably a good 10 hours of just edit and review time on our end. When the script started slowing down, and then when I became a better editor, I could knock out a Sins script in less than 6 hours, and then Brad could review it. So it would be a normal 8-hour day.
So we'll say we'll just say 10.
Yeah, we'll say like 10 hours.
Yeah.
So that's writing, the editing, the first editing.
Mm-hmm. Then there's the review process.
The review process probably like an hour?
Well, they'll send us. Okay, so if we're doing the movies, then we do an edit of the movies, which usually takes me 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
To kind of fine tune stuff, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then there's that review process, which you can tag on another maybe. I guess there's several of us doing it, so go ahead and tag another couple hours on, just because it's 4 people doing half hour of work.
Okay. And posting.
And
social and stuff.
Yeah, probably just another hour or so.
So we're basically at about 28 and a half to 29 hours.
Man hours.
So let's say 30, just to make us sound really amazing. So for one 20-minute video, approximately 30 hours of work goes into that.
That sounds
about right, actually.
And then we're doing 6 videos a week. Now, some of those aren't as long as the movies are, but yeah. You get a sense that there's a lot of people working hard to keep the content flowing. So, and
we love doing it, and we love making you guys laugh, and we love the community. That's why we do it. We do it because your guys' comments and feedback, it just fuels us on. So thanks guys so much for that.
the fans are the greatest part of this.
Truly.
Meeting them in person at like Sins Week, and then meeting them in person like the one Comic-Con we did it kind of almost brings you to tears a little bit, because you're like, granted, we see the numbers on these videos, like, yes, these have 1 million views, but like you don't really connect with that until like you see someone like just go fanboy on you a little bit. Just it kind of like it's just a little heartwarming feeling sometimes.
Well, and we get those emails and those messages all the time as well from people who are just like, I was in a dark place in my life, and your videos gave me a smile and gave me a laugh. Like it's really easy to underestimate the power of humor. And just the power of having to just be that kind of fun for somebody. So yeah, the fans make it all worthwhile for sure. Absolutely. Creasy, did you have anything else you wanted to say about kind of the whole process or Made In or anything before we kind of move on?
No, you did ask what Made In was originally, and so as of right now, we're an MCN, so we're a multi-channel network. We're kind of evolving into something else as a company. We're kind of growing right now, but I mean, that's going to be our bread and butter for a while. Like, we manage a lot of different channels out there. I won't name drop because that's not what I don't do that kind of thing. But like, we do manage some pretty big channels, and CinemaSins was the start of that, and like they've been a family for us, and it's been a great team to be a part of, and it's been a really great growth process for me as a filmmaker and editor and artist, because like I started as an intern, now I'm running the project, so it's been really great.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Well, thanks for giving a glimpse into it, because I know that, some people think that Jeremy does everything from start to finish.
I know. It's so funny to see those comments still, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's kind of nice for us on the show, and the whole point of the show is to peel back the curtain and sort of go, actually, this is what it takes to put this channel together, and all of the videos for all of the channels. And it's really fun to have you on to give a glimpse into the editing process, because that's the first time that we've had a chance to do that. So we're excited for it. And thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Yeah. And Danae, it's actually really great to actually get to talk to you and kind of sort of meet you for the first time.
Yeah. And I'll get to see you at Sins Week, unless you're not going to be there
You're
for
going to
whatever
see him
reason.
next week.
Oh,
literally a week from now.
Oh, yeah. You guys about to say, you guys are coming in next week, aren't you?
Yeah, spoiler alert. We're going to be all together in the same place.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
that'll be great.
I forgot that I was leaving town.
It's so funny.
Yeah, hopefully we'll make some plans for Sins Week.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be great.
I just saw Danae's eyes reflect the excitement of seeing you all, and also the terror of remembering she has to leave town.
I literally am like, I got to make a list.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I've got stuff to do. All right, let's finish off with some Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're going to chat about something else in the pop culture world that you may have seen recently. Could be good, bad, or ugly.
Ugly.
You want to do ugly? You're
No.
going to do something ugly?
No.
I shouldn't even say that, because really, let's not. Let's not do a Beyond the Sins about something ugly.
No.
What do you have for us, Creasy? What have you seen recently that you want to talk about?
So I've been watching a lot of new pilots and TV shows, but I did go see Joker last night.
Oh,
which was,
yes, Joker.
It was a great
Aaron
experience.
loved Joker.
No, I didn't, but I didn't hate it either. I didn't hate it either, but I do want to hear what Creasy has to say.
I understand where like the big critics are coming from, like as far as like having some criticism about it. Like, is it Joaquin Phoenix's best performance? Probably not. I mean, I preferred him better in The Master than I did in this, as far as like his acting prowess. But I do say, like, I did enjoy his evolution through the movie as the Joker. I do like the way the director and the writers wrote the story, as far as like creating this Gotham of the 1970s, and like the evolution of like how society kind of treats people with mental health, and like how this movie kind of has a lot of reflection of like what's going on in our country today, and how sometimes the poor and the people who are mentally ill are kind of like left aside by those who are wealthy and stuff like that. It kind of hits home a little bit with that, and then I felt like just the visual storytelling was amazing. There's some beautiful cinematography in this movie, and then like the editing usually like something I noticed really hard in movies, but like I didn't have any notes for this editing wise, and I do think that it was a little slowly paced as far as that, but I think that was intentional because like there's this build up towards the end, like you're just like, when's he gonna do the crazy stuff? When's he gonna do all the weird stuff? When's he gonna do this and that? And you like usually I can nail those punches down no problem after years of working for CinemaSins and just years of watching movie. But this one, like it kind of took me aback a little bit in some scenes. Like some scenes I was just like, whoa, did not see that coming right there. But yeah, it was completely enjoyable. I think Joaquin Phoenix does a great job of becoming the Joker. I think Heath Ledger will always be my Joker. But yeah, I think the movie in general, it's great to go see it. I think a lot of this stuff about the violence and all that stuff is just, violent movies have been made about protests and stuff like that for years, and I think that this is just something for people to get on a bandwagon about a little bit. But I do think that there is some justification in it, but not like enough to not go see this movie and stuff like that.
I think talking heads have to have stuff for their heads to talk about sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we have such a culture of having to have a hot take. That I think that does affect things. My opinion on this film is documented elsewhere.
Let's not do it.
Yeah, I probably don't have time to go into it in detail. Thanks, nice. I'll just sum it up this way.
No, skip.
No, there are people who are just going to listen to this. You can give me 30 seconds to give them something of an idea of what I thought.
I actually want to hear.
Yeah, Creasy wants to know what I think. So just because you've heard it before doesn't mean everybody has.
Skip. I'm just being obnoxious. Go ahead.
My kind of general summary on my takeaway is I agree with everything you're saying about how technically astounding this is. The editing, the visuals, the sound, which you didn't mention. The sound in this movie is incredible, as is the score. I do think it's actually Joaquin Phoenix's best performance. I think he's absolutely mind-blowingly good in this. I just think all that stuff hides a movie underneath that really isn't about the things it thinks it's about and isn't as meaningful as it thinks it is. And I think there are enough muddled messages and weird consequences to those messages that I had to think about it for quite a while, and I will continue to think about it. But I think the movie is getting a lot of leeway with that stuff because of how amazingly it's made. I think that's kind of generally my assessment of what's going on there. Again, if you want to hear specific examples, reasons, there are other places where I've talked about that.
Yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from with that. Yeah, though.
Yeah, and I guess primarily it wants to deal in a serious way with mental health issues, which you talked about a little bit, but then it also wants to be a Batman movie, and I don't know how well those two things go together. So I'll just sum it up that way. So there you go. Danae, was that too hard?
I stopped listening.
Of course you did. You literally did the skip in your brain and then just checked out.
I told you it was coming.
Danae, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So last week I talked about the Play Pass that I am trying out, and so I've actually been able to spend a lot of time this week.
I figured Play Pass meant you would be doing mobile games for the next 3 years on Beyond the Sins.
Well, I don't like watching movies for fun. I do it for other reasons.
Every time she says that, she looks around to see if there's an axe about to fall.
It's just, I am a unique voice for the CinemaSins brand.
You are,
I'm
absolutely.
Still shocked to be here, but very honored at the same time. No, so like my fun, how I kind of go and just unwind is playing games. So one of the ones that was free to try out by trying out the Play Pass was called Lumino City. Luminosity.
It's like somebody titled something that could have a double meaning.
You nodded, Aaron. Have you played this before?
Oh, you saw something in my eyes because I'm actually doing a mobile game as well because I also got Play Pass.
Oh, you did?
Okay. There was, but it starts with an L, and I was just it was going to blow my mind if you were going to pick the same one.
But it's not.
It's not. No.
Okay. This is another one of those puzzle type games. You mentioned Agent A. It kind of also reminds me of, oh gosh, I'm not going to remember the name of it. What was the game that had Ida, the little character that kind of went around those puzzle pieces and you shifted the game all around? And
oh yeah.
I can't think of it. If you think of it, just pop in.
There's two of them. They've made two of them.
It starts with an M.
I believe you're right. Mm-hmm. You keep talking. I'll try to figure it out.
So this is really similar in that you are, a character and you're given a visual in front of you and you're kind of walking through whatever's on the screen trying to solve a puzzle. Did you figure it out?
Monument Valley.
Yes, thank you. It reminds me of Monument Valley in a way. Totally different art, but still very artistic. And so if you are an art lover or, I guess, let me give you a trigger warning, though, before I go too much further into this. If you have a fear of heights, I would not play this game. So if you've was that called acrophobia or something? This one...
Not agoraphobia. No, that's totally different.
That's different. So Lumino City, you're just in this really interesting, odd, unique world where you're trying to basically turn the power back on the city and solve all these, puzzles, which I freaking love to do. You're given a book to help you through it in case you need to get hints or something like that. So you can actually play the entire game and never have to think about anything. You can just look through the book for it. I learned so the book you can flip page by page, 1, 2, 3, all that. And it goes all the way up to 600s. And I thought you had to just click it. So I spent a lot of time just single clicking. Turns out...
Sounds like me when I played Myst. There were 1 million books in Myst, and I read every single page.
Oh, I never beat Myst. Did
really?
You beat it?
I've beat every version of Myst. I love those games.
So hard. I could never figure it out. Maybe I should go back and play that one. That's old school.
Yeah, it's old school. That's really old school.
Yeah. Anyway, so just of note, if you decide to get this game, it's $5, by the way. If you decide to get this game, you can actually just drag the screen kind of all the way over to the right and it flips through the pages for you very easily if you get stuck. I have used the book a couple of times. That's just who I am. And then I've also very stubbornly no, I am not using it. I'm going to figure this one out on my own. And I'm really impressed with my brain skills. There's been a couple ones that I'm how the crap did I just do that? And
well done, brain.
There's one right now that I haven't finished the game yet. There's one right now that's, I think, going to be pretty involved. And it's one I really don't want to use the book for. It involves several pieces of code and weird letters and decoding things. And I'm going to have to actually get paper to write out on the side to figure this puzzle out. So when you have to go in the real world and write puzzle stuff down, you're doing really fun in a puzzle. So I recommend this one. Again, I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know how it ends, but I'm having a good time. It won the British Academy Games Awards in 2015. It is a 4.7 out of 5 reviews, and I definitely agree with that. It's a lot of fun. So.
Luminosity.
No, it's Lumino City.
Lumino City.
Yes.
Lumino City.
Lumino City. It has 5,316 reviews, and it's 4.7 out of 5 stars, which is pretty incredible.
Very nice. I picked up Play Pass since it was free for a little bit and thought I'd try some stuff out. And this should just tell you how current I am with my mobile games. The game that I've fallen in love with came out in 2010. So that's almost a decade ago. But it's really fun, and it's a nice, simple, very evocative puzzler called Limbo. Have you ever played Limbo?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's the one that I mentioned in our fake ad last week.
Oh, did you?
The one where it's Shadow?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have that one to try.
Maybe subconsciously you
you
planted that in my brain. Anyways, finally getting around to trying it out, and I think sometimes it's good to kind of give a shout out to something that maybe hasn't been in the consciousness for a while in case people haven't seen it. But man, it is so interesting because you're dealing with a kind of a nightmare dreamscape that this kid is trying to navigate his way through, and it's really kind of emotional, and at the same time there's puzzle solving, and so I don't know, it's a really neat kind of interesting combination of emotional intensity and some scares as well as some real interesting puzzle solving. So
44,395 reviews.
Yeah.
Giving it, I think, at a 4.7 also.
Yeah.
This one's also $5.
Yeah, $4.99.
Yeah, that's a really great game. I didn't realize it was on mobile. I played it on console, so I imagine that on mobile it's probably a very difficult game.
It operates really easily. I found the controls very simple. For me, that's really important. I don't like having to figure out complex control schemes. It's one of the reasons I've never gotten into like fighting games and stuff. So yeah,
you just have
I've
to
really
relax
enjoyed
your
it.
brain, man. Then your hands just take over.
No.
Yeah.
No. You just
all of a
push
sudden,
buttons.
you just realize that you're pushing buttons without knowing why, but it's working.
Is it working? Maybe that's the part I messed up on. It never got to be working for me. Limbo is different though. Limbo seemed to be working very well. So
Two games this week.
So that's my shout out. I knew you'd have a game too. Like I said, I figure you'll be doing games forever now.
I was really impressed with the Lumino City, so I was like, I've got to talk about this one this week.
Well, that studio that did Limbo just came out with another game maybe a year or so ago that is kind of in that same realm of like the just very silhouette-y. I think it's called Little Nightmares, and it's about a little. I think it's about a little girl, or maybe it's called Inside. Yeah. Either way, their use of like gameplay mechanics and like their art style is just beautiful as far as like using silhouettes and to really dig home these dark themes that they're playing with in their stories.
Yeah, I have been very impressed with what they've done. I think the company is Playdead that did Limbo.
Yeah, and at least that's the producers of the mobile game, and I don't think they've produced another mobile game at this point. So it might be a console game only on their second game.
No, I think it's just on iOS. I think that's the thing.
Oh,
I think,
gotcha.
Yeah. You guys are Android users, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, we've seen the light. We're just waiting on you.
Hey, I'm a PC gamer too. You know, I understand. I mean, Mac is my work life. So having a iPhone and all that stuff kind of helps out with text messages and stuff. So
yeah, I'm just being silly because I have gone on the record on the podcast a couple of times.
Oh no, I listened to the last podcast and I was like, oh okay.
Being human is weird. It shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Really
Nowadays with these phones, it really doesn't.
No, it really doesn't. Well, there you go. That's going to do it for Behind the Sins this week. Don't forget to make sure you are subscribed and go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. You can hang out with us on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. She is at Danae Says.
DNEESAYS.
Jonathan is at SanLoomis13. And Creasy, where can people find you?
I'm at the Creasy on Twitter, and I'm at the Chris Creasy on Instagram. So
there you go. So for Jonathan Watkins, Danae Hughes, Chris Creasy, and myself, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to behindthesinspod@gmail.com. And be sure to subscribe or message us at Twitter. And be sure to visit CinemaSins.com.
Let me move my laptop out of the way. I'm sure that's blocking my voice.
Maybe if you just yell the entire podcast.
And today we have Creasy on the show. Please welcome Creasy.
Yeah.
You need to be videoed because you didn't have any lips when you did that because you're like.
Well, it's this funny thing where I don't want to yell into the microphone, so I kind of back off and turn my head. We're going to have a really good show today.
You kind of sound like Seinfeld there a little bit.
Yeah,
he does, or some kind of a Muppet.
Yeah, I'm in the studio. I've got everything. I've got the door locked and kind of got signs up saying that I'm recording right now. So like, that way everybody knows, like, hey, don't come in here. And I also put something on Slack, so that way it's like, yo, I'm in here.
Hey, do you have air? You got water?
Oh,
you
yeah,
got food? You gonna be okay?
I got water. I got food. If I get caved in, I think I'll be all right.
All right, good.
Yeah, if not, I'll just James Franco this and just eat my hand.
Did he eat? He didn't eat his arm.
He bit into it and then carved it off. I don't think he actually ate any of it, but yeah.
Dude, I forgot that he bit it at first. I just thought he used the knife the whole time. That movie, man.
There was some grotesque stuff there for a little bit. So
yeah, Danae, you should see 127 Hours.
Sounds great.
Actually, I would recommend 127 Hours to you. Just take out the middle 30 minutes. You know, there's about 30 minutes in the middle where he has to escape by removing his own arm. Once you get past before and after that, it's a really good movie.
Is he a robot, or you can just kind of like unscrew the bolts and then like just kind of disconnect the arm?
Yes,
sort of like Bender style.
Yes, he's a James Frankenstein, I think is what he is.
Well, the dark thing is that it was a true story, and that's the worst part. Like,
it's the most amazing part. It's a true survival story.
Do you think that the guy who did it watched the movie?
Oh, sure, of course. It can't be any worse than.
But then you're seeing it.
Right.
Reliving the worst time ever.
I say yes, and here's why. You just want to know that somebody else at least had to pretend to go through what you went through. Now he doesn't feel so alone, Yeah. Now he's got James Franco on his side.
See, I would think that he would be needing to go to counseling after rewatching his own.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he needed to go to counseling before the movie came out.
I'm just saying, let's say that you were part of an elite SEAL team rescue that went wrong.
Yeah, let's say
and they made
that.
a movie about it.
Okay, but in this case, it's kind of euphoric, right? He survived. He made it happen. It worked. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think with a SEAL team that goes wrong, you've got friends that died. You've got you know what I'm saying. And in this case, he just
had
lost an arm.
5 digits that died. He did have his friend being his arm absolutely died. I mean, besides me making Play-Doh for the first time, that was actually kind of fun.
Oh, fun!
But
you made Play-Doh?
Yeah, it's really easy. You take a cup of flour, half a cup of salt, and then you just slowly drizzle in half a cup of water, and then you keep stirring it, and that's Play-Doh.
That's a form of Play-Doh, at least.
Huh?
And if I wanted to make it colored, you add food coloring to it. Boom, it's Play-Doh.
Amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
And fully edible.
If you really wanted to. Yes.
It's just flour and salt. You're just a couple eggs away from a chocolate chip cookie.
Later on today, I get to go have a massage, and I'm really excited about that. Oh, it's going to be so good to just
I've actually
lay
never
there.
had a massage before, so I'm kind of jealous.
Well, question. Do you like being touched?
I mean, depends on the touch.
Good point. Good point. Also, I realize that's an awkward question.
Today, just going up to random people on the street. Can I ask you a question?
Well, I'm a massage therapist, so I actually went to school for it, and we did 8 months that were just dedicated to the art of massage, where we're constantly learning in class, and also going to clinic and stuff. And so that 8 months, my body was so happy because there's always somebody that's working out a kink in your shoulder, or someone's always just attending to your needs.
Will you be my homework partner? Okay. Fine.
3 experiences I tend to find, and one of them is the basic. You go in, it's kind of like a fluff and buff. You're just on the table and you're out kind of a thing. And then there's the more pamper. And then if the massage gods can smile down upon you, you find somebody who has been working this modality for over a decade. If you can find that person, there's lots of benefits to it. I could talk about it for hours because I went to school for it. So if you want to have a massage episode today, I'm all for it.
I will say, if you do go to a place and they do offer a service called the Fluff and Buff, you probably want to go somewhere else.
Yeah. It's somewhere where you walk in, it's $60 an hour. You walk out, it's $200. It's like, what?
Yeah. Something went wrong.
Yes, yeah. All right, let's do a podcast, guys.
Can I say one more thing about massages just before I just feel like this is super important.
Yeah.
If your massage therapist talks to you through the entire massage, go find somebody else. That's it. Okay. It should be your own relaxing, quiet experience.
I've had this experience.
You have, and when you told me your therapist, I was so mad.
She was so good.
But she talked about her life bullcrap all the time.
She talked about very personal details of her life too.
Yeah, she talked about her divorce with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not okay.
I knew it wasn't okay, but it felt so good.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes podcast, where Aaron is taking too long to get started, so I'm going to.
Go ahead, keep going.
On this show, we talk about stuff about CinemaSins. There's stuff with all the channels, and we talk about everything that came out this last week. And so if you like CinemaSins, then you're probably going to like the show.
It's so perfect that I only 90% feel like I need to actually do the actual one.
Okay. What's he building in there? Wait, that's the wrong one. Is that the wrong one?
Danae, did you have anything else?
I was surprised there wasn't a sin-off in this. Is it because you guys hate Friends?
Friends? We're on Lil
I'm
Nas X
sorry.
now. Did you totally?
Well, I went back to Friends in my brain just now. Let's just say didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I apologize.
She was making Play-Doh, so.
Maybe Aaron can just edit that part. Nope.
She's been
he's not
sniffing
going to.
Play-Doh for the last 24 hours.
And now my nipples are hard. Sorry.
Put that on the soundboard. It'll all be fine.
No.